Hi guys.
Hello, Aquarians. It's a pleasure to see you all.
Hi guys.
So today we have, Cameron, Mache, and Sarah. Sarah's the newest addition to the team. Yes, I wouldn't want to introduce you. I wouldn't want to steal the spotlight. So, Sarah, like, if you could introduce yourself for those that haven't met you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Very, very excited to be today with you and share a lot of exciting updates and things that I've been working on my end of things. But first of all, my name is Sara Filipčić. I'm originally from Croatia, but I've been living in the United States and I currently live in Japan. I spent the last 8 years building 0 to 1. So I had my own startup. I worked for another startup for 4 years, and I've been on all kinds of journeys throughout this past 8 years of my life. During that, I also worked a lot with UN, UNICEF, World Economic Forum, and all kinds of government and institutional stakeholders. And that is one of my utmost pleasures of bringing companies in front of the institutions such as that for the credibility. So it's been really my honor to work on such a wonderful project with Cameron and Mache. And I have to tell you guys, it is a really an easy sell. You've made so much progress, and this community is wonderful. And the impact that you're making on people's lives and on sustainability, it's really something that it's easy for me to just package nicely and work on selling to the institutions. So today I'm gonna show you some of the work that I've been doing on the business development side of things, institutional strategy, and as I'm sharing the updates and the slides, feel free to interrupt us at any given point in time. Mache and Cameron are going to be able to let me know when you have some questions. So just ask away. You can, give some of the suggestions or any type of things that come to your mind as we're going through it. We really want to make this a collaborative effort with this presentation. So it doesn't have to be just me sharing the updates to you. So very excited to start. But before I do, Mache, Cameron, anything else that you want to add?
No one can hear you?
Now, yeah, for whatever reason, it captured the wrong device. So basically, what I was saying is that, unfortunately, guys, I'm gonna stay for like 15-20 minutes more, because like I've been like coding the redistribution and taxes and entire backend behind that for like past 15 hours or something or so. So, and truth be told, I completely forgot about the AMA today. Like I'm giga tired, so I'm gonna just try to keep company as long as I can, and yeah. What about you,
Oh,
Cameron?
man.
How are you
Yeah.
doing?
Doing good, guys. To give you an update on me, I'm in the middle of San Francisco, just doing business development as per usual. Today is Sarah's day. My day will come later and whatnot, but I'm glad that we were able to get the redistribution update out to you all. Just to give some clarification, we said this in the Telegram, but for those that watched this and didn't know, the fee is temporarily going to be 2.5% because the app.
Cameron,
Yes.
actually, I already increased it to 5% total. because apparently Uniswap finally adds like fees that tokens like you know adds on top of transactions to the slippage, so it's automatic.
They fixed it.
Yeah,
That's
they
good.
finally fixed it. So I basically increased it to the original value. So it's 2.5% on sale and 2.5% on buy. So 5% total.
That's beautiful, guys. So yeah, so all you need to know is that the current it's 5% buy and sell, 2.5% burn, and then 2.5% uh redistribution, if that makes sense. So that is what it is. So the way it is out of that redistribution, the formula is like 2.5% fee is taken, that's put into a pool, and every week we basically keep track, our infrastructure keeps track on who held during that week. And if you held, you will get, depending on the percentage of the total Aquari supply that you own, you will get a you will get airdropped coins that are in accordance to the percentage of your ownership. And to be honest, in practice, you might actually get slightly more than that percentage, because we also added there's a minimum, in order to be eligible for reflections, there needs to be a minimum amount of Aquari for you to get. So this is to prevent like bots and whatnot from abusing systems. So the minimum is 50,000 Aquari. So if you have less than 50,000 Aquari, you'll have Aquari, but you won't be able to get reflections. So what this results in is like you'll actually get the percentage according to your ownership, but a bit more, because there's people that, yeah, you get the whole math. So that's basically it. So now would be the time, I think, to load up. But yeah, what's next in development is subscriptions. So that development team number 2 will be pushing that out, and we'll keep you updated on that. But as for today, this is going to be an update specifically on Aquari Institutional Relations, held by yours truly, Sarah. So, Sarah, I'll let you take it away.
Guys, just look how because when Cameron was talking, I started showcasing the UI of our redistribution mechanism. Look, guys, look how beautiful that is. How absolutely magnificent that is. But yeah, let's not take any more of Sarah's time. Let me hide that before she can continue. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I'm just trying to change it's like 6 a.m. here, so I woke up at 5, so I'm like trying to not to look too tired on this call. So I have this like a little light that's changing colors above me. There we go. That's better. Okay, so wonderful. Thank you so much, guys, and I'm sure that the community is very excited to hear about these updates. And now I'm going to start with sharing a couple of things that happened since approximately November, December, when I started working on business development and institutional side of things. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a couple of institutes and organizations that we are working with, so that you can have a little bit more context. You can go later and Google and search yourself if you want to read a little bit more. And then I'm going to show you the presentation on how we actually were presenting to UNESCO and to UNDP. And at the end of it, I'm going to share what are the current things that are in the motion. And Cameron, Machi, and I, we talked about doing another MAA potentially towards the end of the month or early March, when we're going to have more concrete updates to share with you about what the next steps are, whether or not we went through the process with UNESCO. So we're going to keep making the updates via Telegram, but also I think one AMA session when we have a more up-to-date information on that side is going to be really good for the community. So without a further ado, I'm gonna start with sharing my screen. So again, if there are any pressing questions while I'm sharing, Cameron, Mache, and especially Cameron when Mache leaves, feel free to interrupt me and yeah, just share it with the community. Am I sharing the right screen? Are you seeing my Nobel Sustainability Trust screen? Can someone just confirm?
No,
No? Okay.
you are sharing Discord screen.
I was supposed to share entire screen. Okay. Let's try this again. How about now?
Watch stream. Yeah. Now it
Okay,
works.
great. Okay, I have you guys also on my phone, but I just want to make sure that I stayed focused here. Okay, lovely. So now when I'm sharing the right screen, I'm going to start by telling a little bit more about the event that we were a part of when we did Miami Art Basel. I made a couple of updates on this, but I just wanted to give you a more concrete insights. So we were invited to be a part of the Nobel Sustainability Trust. It was a invite-only event that we needed to get clearance for. There were a couple of princes there from Qatar and a prime minister from Egypt. So they wanted to make sure that it's like a high safety risk situation. So we met incredible people there. There are a couple of collaborations that are coming out of the event that we're gonna update you when we have a contract signed. But this is the organization that hosted it. So the Nobel Sustainability Trust is indeed a one of the organizations from Nobel family. So they are creating these events every year, and they give awards to different projects that are in sustainability space. So we are also going to be applying and going through the process for award ceremony in the upcoming years, depending on how this year goes, and then if not this year, then we're gonna do it next year. One of my friends is a person who is organizing, and this is her profile. So she's been working with IEEE, with United Nations Commission for Europe in on the Systems and Sustainability Energy Division. So I'm also meeting up with her in a few days from now to have a conversation to see what else does she think that Aquari Foundation would be a very good accredited for. So very exciting things happening about building that credibility layer around the project. As I mentioned at the beginning, guys, this has been a very easy sell for me because you've done so much in this last few years, especially what guys accomplished in Abuja. That was truly something remarkable that everyone gets really, really surprised about. So we are excited to see what other opportunities we are going to get around upcoming pilots and the type of partnerships that we can have based on the data that we already demonstrated and the proof of the work that we are doing. So I'll have and send this link later in the chat as well. But you can see that Nobel Sustainability Trust is all about the UN goals. So there are quite a few categories that we are fitting into. And we're also going to go through the process of having that certification from UN that we indeed are working under SDGs. But then also through the work that we are doing, we are finding new areas that need to be implemented into SDGs. So that's a very excited partnership opportunity there. Next one that I'm particularly very excited about It's the UNESCO's Seaward Africa initiative that's happening across different countries in Africa, but ultimately it's a 5-year long program that is all about creating sustainability in the rural areas of Africa. They have a specific roadmap, but talking to their business development team and the strategist, what we've learned is that they often have the project layer in terms of the operational side of things and even the funding, but what they're lacking is actually people on the ground doing the thing. So when I was presenting to their team, they were really impressed to see how we activate the communities and how we provide them with financial incentives to then support the long-term sustainability of the area that they operate under. So when I was meeting with the UNESCO team, I presented Aquari through the lens of we are an upstream execution and verification for source to see outcomes. You're going to see in a couple of other examples that depending on the stakeholder that we are presenting to, we are modifying which part of Aquari we want to emphasize more. I always love to just summarize Aquari to everyone as an operational and verification platform for waste management and environmental cleanup. It really demonstrates how our platform model both provides the community activation while also ensuring that what people say they did, they actually did, which often is a huge problem with these huge institutions, that they have there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of money laundering, and so there's a lack of building, a lack of trust sometimes towards the initiatives, because sometimes they come across scammers who say, yes, we're going to do this project, we're going to clean up that part, but actually nothing happens, and there are no really ways to verify that. So they're very excited about that side of our platform. So when presenting in more detail, we are sharing that there are a couple of areas that Aquari is specifically focusing on. One is on the ground execution. As I said, one of the hugest value propositions that we have, the paid local work, and then auditable, verifiable outcomes. So ultimately, for UNESCO, we summarized it that Aquari is designed to support governments, donors, and multilateral programs that require proof of delivery, not just coordination. So in terms of the problem areas that these institutions often come across, these are the three that we summarize particularly with Seaward. One is the upstream leakage that remains poorly managed in dense urban and peri-urban contexts. Another one is implementation gaps that emerge once programs move from strategy to delivery. And the third one, as I shared a lot about it already, verification and reporting are costly, fragmented, or delayed. So that summarizes into that these gaps undermine coastal and marine outcomes, even when funding and coordination exists. But luckily, we have Aquari that provides those three-sided solution to their three-sided problem. One is, as we all know, on the execution. We mobilize and coordinate local workers. We operate where formal waste system fails. As guys have heard when they were in Abuja, that they accomplished something that even UN bodies were not able to do so, that they made promises but never actually fully executed. And focus on interception before waterways. And then the second pillar, which is something that is a beautiful part of the Aquari that I'm very excited and happy about, which is the paid and dignified local work. Unlocking that ability to access to capital for people that often don't have even a ability to afford food, let alone school, medication, etc. And then, as we know, the community anchor delivery, transparent payment linked to work completed. And the third one, which, as I mentioned, is a huge problem around the verification. So Aquari is providing that before and after evidence. We show volume, location, workforce data. This is in particularly interested to bodies as UNESCO and UN, because often with the partners that they're working on with, the data that's being collected through that process and the insights that their stakeholders are gathering is then translated into research that is published, and out of that research then they create standardization processes that are implemented on the government level. So with that train of thought, what we would do is we would be directly informing policies and standardizations that are implemented across countries and continents, which I believe it's a really, really cool thing to do. And the lastly, audible trail and suitable for donors and governments. So again, the information that we verify and collect is then being able to be repurposed for the meetings with the donors, with the meetings with the governments. And because of the blockchain component, we can actually really stand behind that and send the sign of proof to anyone that is involved. So to summarize the positioning for UNESCO, Aquari turns cleanup and prevention into reliable, verifiable public infrastructure work. And you all know the incredible success that we had in Nigeria. This is something that I like to kind of brag about. Everyone I tell that I'm working with Aquari, and especially, the efficiency of the model, how quickly we resolved the pitfalls that happened on the first day, and how the model of the platform that we built is something that is continually showing that is working and it's helping even when the biggest challenges arise. There were a couple of photos that I like to share during these presentations that are so impactful, that demonstrate what we did, the power of the community. And then there are three areas how we are looking and partnering with Seaward Africa. One is on supporting source to sea objectives, one is on strengthening implementation and reporting, and the third one is in reducing complexity by embedding into existing delivery frameworks. So what we are in the process of with them right now is there is a entire we had like a 32 question questionnaire that was all about how can we best support Seaward and what are the areas where we could impact them the most. And then now we are going through that process of the verification. And when we get the accreditation, then we become an official partner to UNESCO, and we are in their partners network. And what that means is that when the upcoming initiatives are happening under this project with UNESCO, then they are mix and matching the project partners. So for example, one project partner brings the funding, another one brings the research and academic component, and for example, Aquari then brings that on the ground operational layer. And so as we are going to be going through different projects and mix and matches throughout the time, then we're demonstrating our reusability more and more. That is just like putting us higher and higher on the UNESCO radar and unlocking a lot of paid pilots and government contracts, and who knows what other opportunities will arise out of that. So that's it on the UNESCO side. Once again, we are talking about Ocean Decade, the Seaward part of it, and you're able to see they have so on their 10 challenges that they're solving. So there are a lot of data that you can kind of dig a little bit deeper in understanding of how the positioning is with them. And Edwin was sharing that particularly when it comes to blue entrepreneurship and technology side of things, it's something that they don't have that many partners with, but they're really looking into it. And when I was sharing with Edwin the work that we are doing, he said that there's no one else that they've seen that they are doing what we are doing. And so it really makes us a very appealing partner to them. So Edwin personally had helped us with the application and looked into the answers and made suggestions. So we have a champion within the UNESCO's theme on the side of Aquari. So with that, I'm gonna take a little pause just to make sure that I can address any questions or thoughts on this before I start getting into UN side of things. Okay.
So the first question that I see has appeared was asked by Anna Luce, and she asked, "What is the most heard reaction after your presentations?"
What's the most heard
Like, what's the
reaction?
most heard? Like, what's the most common reaction? Like when
The
you,
most common.
yes, I know you touched on that, but you maybe you can
Yeah,
give a bit more fidelity into that answer.
of course. I think that people are at that institutional level, you're not talking to technologists, right? So they don't really have a lot of experience with technology related products and sustainability. But even when they do, the platform model that we've created and the way how we have that three-sided approach where we are activating community, creating gig work, and also then going into the sustainability and cleanups is something that was a rare combination of things. So the most common comments that I've heard is like, wow, this works. It empowers communities and it fixes the problem. Like, I've not seen anything like that before. So that I would say would be the most common thing, is just like the surprise factor of how many components we are solving within one project. And then also the evidence that we have with the work that we already did is like when I say to people, it's like 22,000 tons. Can you even fathom what that is? People are like, wow, that is insane. And within 7 days of execution and all the, yeah. So like people are really, really, really amazed.
Okay, so she says, "It sounds like you've already done an incredible amount of work. Great, and it sounds very promising." And then another person says, "Thank you for the presentation." Is Edwin Dutch?
No. Edwin is African. He's, I think, from Nigeria.
Yes. So that's the questions for now. So I believe you can go into your next segment when
Yes.
ready.
Let me correct myself. Edwin is from Kenya. Okay. Lovely. Okay, so the next one will be on the UN side of things. Okay, so UN also has a decade program that we are exploring. So Edwin is also helping with the connections within the UN, but we also started in the process with the UNDP. So UNDP is again as well another chain that has multiple different projects globally in sustainability. So here's a bit more about the focus that they've been having lately. So transforming urban spaces, connecting to ecosystem restoration, creating first ever advocate for ecosystem restoration, bamboo-based restoration, respectful returns in Canada. So you can see that it's like across the globe, multiple different initiatives. I don't know why their initiative side is not working. And the way how we are positioning ourselves in this. So we have another champion within UNDP who helped us to clarify what would be the best positioning that we have within UNDP and the problem areas that they have that we could be solving for. So there are a couple of slides that are repeating from the UNESCO's presentation. So I'm just going to focus on the difference in terms of the positioning. So with UNDP, what we are sharing is that we specialize in complex context. informal settlements, flood-prone areas, and high leakage waste environments, where we again provide the same value add: on the ground execution, paid local works, and audible, verifiable outcomes. So those three components will never change, but the way how we package them changes. So what we said with UNDP is that Aquari is designed to be integrated into existing government and UNDP workflows. So we are not reinventing the wheel, we are simply adding the value on top of the existing workflows, aligning with the program-specific audit, verification, and reporting requirements. So with UNDP, they are similar to UNESCO, but in some areas also kind of different. So they have implementation gaps. They are having difficulties measuring their outcomes. They are either difficult to measure, they're delayed or fragmented, which then also slows the process for them to building any reports and to therefore also generate more donor money, because there are, so what they usually do is it takes them around 2 years to get to from creating the project to conducting the project to having results published. So we could shorten that time to like 6 months for them because of all the data and how we are collecting it on the spot. And similar again, fraud, leakage, and one-off activities that undermine continuity and trust. So the comment that that the guys Cameron Mache and the team got at in Abuja was there for a reason. Like they said, no UN body had succeeded at this. There were a lot of not-for-profits that came, showed up, and just took pretty pictures and then left. That's basically one of the big problems that these institutions have. It's like someone shows up, does the thing one-off, and then they think that they solved the problem, or they don't even succeed at solving the problem. So we had a very interesting conversation both with UNESCO and UNDP on something that I just recently got the board approval to start working on. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that at the end of this presentation as well. I'm very, very excited about this. My background is also in education, so you're gonna kind of see what I have cooking on that side of things. So to summarize the problem from the UNDP side of things, the gaps that they have limit impact, scalability, and institutional uptake of otherwise well-designed UNDP programs. Is someone trying to say something, or it was accidentally turning on the mic?
Accident.
Okay, cool. So I'm not going to repeat myself in terms of the value adds, but you can see that just there are a couple of different sentences that we just frame differently given the problem areas that UNDP has. So the wonderful thing here is, like, as you can see, is like we continually are consistent with the pillars that we bring, but the way how those pillars are being applied to these different stakeholders changes. So same area of solution on our end, different application layer on their end. And so summary for UNDP is Aquari turns resilient activities into bespoke, verifiable public service delivery aligned to institutional requirements. Same thing, sharing about what we did in Abuja. And then with the positioning for UNDP, we say Aquari is not just a plug and play tool, it's an execution and verification infrastructure that is configured to fit each program's audit and compliance requirements, verification and reporting standards, and operational workflows and counterparts. So in the process now with UNDP, we've shared to the champion within UNDP our potential pilot ideas. And he is now in the process of reviewing them, and then he's going to connect us to the right people within the organization. I'm also working on, I was supposed to have, but it got rescheduled, a meeting with someone from UNDP's youth organization program. So it's a very exciting opportunity on that side too. It's also happening within the Africa, but there is a lot of social entrepreneurship initiatives happening within Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Lagos, that are helping helping people to kind of see the ways how they could be solving the problems on the ground. So Aquari could be a really great model for them to look up to work with and to collaborate with, so they can also kind of improve the entrepreneurial ecosystem in those areas as well. And the last thing that I then want to share is on the this new initiative that I've mentioned. So what the problem that we also learned through these conversations is that what often happens is that people do the cleanups, projects, organizations, something gets improved on a occasion, but then the problem is the behavioral change. Is the community that was a part of the problem actually now empowered with new knowledge and skill sets to never again repeat the same mistakes? So we had the conversation about bringing in a potentially new initiative parallel to the work that we do when we are doing the cleanups, and that is the Aquari education. So what Aquari education would be doing is it would be focusing on the behavioral change of the community members that would design to turn cleanup activity into a long-term system change. So what we are saying by doing that is basically we just don't want for the same mistakes to happen within the communities. If we have successfully created a 22-ton of waste cleanup, then how can we ensure long-lasting changes of the community for that garbage not to show up in the same place or elsewhere, and how to help the community members to really understand the negative impacts that it has on their well-being, and also all the potential ways how they could come together in not having that happen again. So this would be focusing on translating real-world cleanups data into education, training, and behavior change frameworks for communities and informal workers, school and youth programs, and municipalities and public sector partners. So a lot of incredible initiatives in between UNESCO and UN on the education side of things, which would also unlock our access to additional capital, as well as the impact that Aquari Foundation would be making in the world. What the amazing thing is that we have is because during our cleanups, we already have communities activated. So while they're activated, while they're solving the problem, while they're facing the problem hands-on, we could easily implement that educational layer. And while we have their attention, create those workshops, create those educational materials, and then empower the community. So the way how we want to put it into the one-liner, Aquari education turns verified cleanup data into behavioral change, helping communities, institutions, and governments prevent waste, not just clean it up. And with that, I am pretty covered. I think I've covered majority of the things that I wanted to share with you today. Please feel free to have any suggestions, any feedback or questions. And then in the next AMA, we're going to have more concrete updates about how these initiatives are progressing.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your amazing insights. And community, I hope you're able to digest all of that, as we transition into this new era of Aquari. So, I know it's been a long, 4 years supporting the project, but I think it's really time now that, okay, we're not just building for blockchain enthusiasts, but building for the real world. And last year we did that with execution, but now we need to plug in this execution as a service to the greater institutional ecosystem. And yeah, in providing that value at that scale, that that will give us the excess capital we need to take everything to the next level. And we need your help in the beginning. We're gonna need your help for this next sprint, guys. We need a lockdown. I know it's a bloodbath out there, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's a marathon. I think this community can win. And Sarah,
Yes.
thank you so much for being an amazing Aquarian. Your work has been really amazing. It was a pleasure working with you at the Nobel event in Miami. I I look forward to seeing what the future holds.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely have a lot of exciting things that I believe are really going to up level Aquari this year. And this level of credibility unlocks so many things, guys. It really helps us to access to funding, grants, other opportunities at large scale opportunities. So I could imagine, Nebuja level impact multiply by 100 that would be possible due to these type of partnerships. And always the interesting thing is, the joint learning that happens through that process, the new insights that we unlock, the new areas that we could venture into, such as the one with Aquari education arm. And I've seen the question that, do you think we could work with UNICEF and UNDP simultaneously? Yes, we can. So they are not mutually exclusive. Quite the contrary, the UNESCO team suggested the UN decade. So there are complementary institutions that are covering different sides of the problem, and they are looking for different types of data as well. So I will have, as we're getting through the process of actually putting things into the contract format and getting through that accreditation process, I will have a little bit more concrete information to share. But this is just like a high level to just share what I've been working on.
Amazing, Sarah. And we have another question saying, would it help to have some certification for Aquari?
As in Aquarium creating certification programs, or
Aquari
as
getting certification, like, or
Uh,
for,
the certification. So this is the think of this as a process of certification that we are kind of going through with UNESCO, because it is a auditing of the impact and the platform that we've created, so that we could then become that institutional partner. But I believe that there would be some other certification opportunities. That's a really good point. I'm seeing that someone like A and B certificate from Quilla, and yeah, let me look into that. I'm sure that it wouldn't how to say, it would definitely come into our service.
oh, amazing. Any questions, guys? I think we'll wrap up with questions and get you all to sleep. Yeah, one thing, Sarah, is we have a tradition of going on super late. But usually
Yeah.
it's for me. You've done amazing. You have a great compression algorithm. I hope to one day have a fraction of your power.
Oof, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely interesting to wake up at 5:30 a.m. That's a new one for me. So, but it was a pleasure to provide this information, and I will gladly wake up again at 5:30 a.m. to share another set of updates for the community.
Five-star certification that we are a certified foundation, usually in handy for businesses and tax purposes. I
Hmm.
believe yes, those certifications would be good. The way Aquari kind of operates is we have the main entity that manages the actual operations of the coin, because
Like
each
if
country has
someone
different digital asset regulations. They need to be compliant to all that. But then we have these sub entities in
if
respect
some
to each country. Yes.
I can jump onto that because like I'm onto legal. We really
Okay.
don't need uh any tax write-offs because like because of the character of our business, we are only depositing amounts of money that we need to spend on our accounts. And crypto itself is not taxed. and exchanging crypto between stable coins is not taxable in EU either. So at this moment, we quite literally have no need for any tax write-off. But absolutely in the future, there's a roadmap for that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mache. Yes, Mache is the wizard in regards to everything legal with Aquari. Just specifically because I'm not familiar with European legal systems. I know a lot of things wrap, but yeah. The next question would be, well, Sarah, someone says, how's Japan?
Japan is wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. I absolutely love living here. It is by far one of the most magical, magnificent cultures and countries that I've ever visited, and I've been to many places. So yeah, it has a very special place in my heart. And as a European living in United States, I was sometimes got very tired of American culture. So this is definitely a refreshment in terms of how beautiful Japanese culture is, and surprisingly, in many ways, it reminds me of my country, of Croatia, and because of how human centric and people are, how much care they show for each other. It is something that not a lot of people expect to hear, because there is a lot of problems in Japan, but at the same time, you do experience a lot of delight in how humans are treating you, even if they don't speak your language. Everyone is always trying to go over and beyond, especially when it comes to service in restaurants and all kinds of things. Just the other day, we were walking out from the restaurant, and the entire staff, the chef, the waiter, got out of the restaurant. They bowed to us, and they kept bowing until we were out of their sight. I'm telling you, like, we walked like, I don't know, 25 meters, and I'm told my friend, like, let's just like take a turn in a random alley, because I feel bad for them bowing in the cold to us. So that is a special feeling. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like a princess. I love feeling like a princess. So it was a really awesome moment. So I absolutely love Japan.
Oh, that experience touches the soul for real. And yeah, just culture shock is really like it's easy to forget that the world is so big and there's so many different modes of life.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yes. And Anna Luce, you have a question for me. So you said, did you think you'd be this far 4 years ago? And what did you have in mind? Did you have this in mind when you started this project? I had the end goal. I knew that being able to like allow people, different stakeholders, whether they're providing capital or labor, to be able to capture like the value that they provide, and, to put this into a for-profit system rather than just just be glad that you did a good thing. I really knew that that is the game changer, and that's the missing unlock that would allow like impact as a sector to emerge in a more sustainable way. So I knew this was a problem worth solving, and I committed alongside Mache. We together were like, we just want to solve this problem. I think what I didn't foresee was, or what I didn't foresee was how much work needed to go on in terms of implementation in the real world, and the fact of like coordinating internationally, because it's one thing to build a business in one physical location, but it's another thing to build a business where you need to form deep relationships in many different countries. Deep relationships in the Netherlands, every country that we touch. I know it's not really seen, but I have to actually form deep relationships. Machi has to do the same as well, and it really it's I would say I just thought that you need to check off the checklist, but I forgot about all the details that needs to happen. Like, you can't become friends and form a bond overnight. It's an entire process, right? So, and I also knew that there would be a pathway to get big. Like, for example, what we're doing right now with providing value to the UNDP and UNESCO as like a potential opportunity. Um, I knew that would be the case. I just didn't know, for example, that I wouldn't imagine when I was back in university that UNDP and UNESCO would have these specific gaps or problems that they'd have to resolve. Like as Sarah said, their main issue is, at least in the context of their African operations, they don't really have anyone. It's hard to. It's a whole hassle for them to find anyone to do stuff on the ground. I just thought, well, wait, this entire world, you're UNDP, that should be, uh, out of everyone in the world, I felt like that would be a vacuum that would have been fulfilled. So it just goes to show, with the power of community, we were able to build something that can fulfill that vacuum. So um, I think I saw the end. I just didn't foresee the specific path and the amount of time that it would take. But it's definitely something that's achievable, and we're just going to march on until we complete it. And I'm just glad that you all are a happy family while we march to victory. And I know we have to figure some things out, and it's not a smooth road. Like right now, we're dealing with something that's completely external from Aquari. We're dealing with Ethereum. It's one thing when like, oh, just because Aquari's priced in Ethereum. Ethereum is the gold in our vault that gives Aquari its value. And so since our underlying gold has pretty much went minus 57% in value overnight, it's like, wow. That volatility is crazy, like it all took was like 2 months. But we're resilient, we're like a cockroach in the positive way, very durable, nuclear reactor could go off, we'll still survive. And yeah, well, don't worry, the future is a bright future ahead of us. Do you occasionally take the time to pause and be proud of what you have already achieved? Yes, I definitely do. And to be honest, for those of you that don't know, like I'm quite religious. Like I grew up Catholic, and I just say, to be honest, I don't see these accomplishments as of myself. I just feel an honor that the Lord, or you could say the universe, depending on how you want to frame things, was kind enough to give me the opportunity to walk this path and uh, be able to infuse love and care for my fellow man into my work. So I look forward to seeing what the future holds, and I feel honored to be in a position to be able to connect with so many people from so many diverse backgrounds, and to be able to provide value to all you Aquarians as well. I will say that every night when I go to sleep, you guys are definitely on my mind, in a good way. In a good way. So the mission continues on. Now with the assistance of Sarah added to the team, and let's fly, guys.
Love that, Cameron. That was really beautiful.
No, thank you so much. I just didn't